confidence needs to be protected. Like there's loads of studies saying like even if your confidence drops by 5%, that doubt, it's so deep that it suddenly seeps into everything that you do.
Pre-pandemic, career was kind of an easy thing to sort out. Now, post-pandemic, there are a lot of different variations happening within organizations, what they're offering, and what it is that you want as an individual. It can sometimes be a little bit hard to figure out how to get into the right positions at the right time with the right offer. In this conversation, we have got a career coach who's going to help you figure out your resume and what it is that you want. As usual, the information is in the description below. Timestamps are there too, so you can know exactly where it is that you want to skip to. By the way, if you're new to this channel, then hi, my name's Ash. We talk about all things leadership right here. So consider subscribing if you want to reach your top potential. Without further ado, let's get into the conversation.
What made you decide to start your own business? Why did you quit that and go your own way?
Somebody said to me once, Linda, you're unemployable. And what he meant by that was I have my own mind and I'm not so good at a poker face. Once I learned the difference between good and bad organizational behavior, I could really no longer abide by bad. So if somebody treated me poorly or treated the person next to me or a complete stranger poorly, I would lose respect for them. But I really like helping the individual. So digging out and finding out what they've done, giving them definitions. And by the way, what I teach them helps them with their performance appraisals when they have to write up that portion that everybody dreads and they go, I don't know how to take credit for anything. I'm not good at bragging. So actually that's going to be one of my courses, or at least a section of one of my workshops is going to be called How to Be a Better Bragger Without Being Obnoxious.
You know, I actually really like that because I was giving a workshop the other day on a leadership, like senior leadership team. These are all C-suite people, senior executives in a company. And we were talking about how to set strategic leadership things, right? One person said in there, one person said, oh, I don't think I have enough experience to do this thing. Because I was asking the question, hey, you guys have been doing this for a while, like what's holding you back? And so that person said that. And I was like, okay, how many years have you been a manager for? 15 years. I was like, so clearly it's not the fact that you haven't got enough experience, because if you're a manager for 15 years and you have been, appointed a senior executive in this company, you have the experience. It's something else that's holding you back, right? And then his colleague was talking about, oh yeah, but like it took us some people get here faster, some people get here slower, and it's all to do with how you can show the value that you're adding, which is exactly what you were talking about, which is bragging without sounding like a douche, right? The right way to show the value that you're adding without it.
Yeah. I mean, even like a secretary, but she said to me, oh, I've never done anything special. And I said, have you ever rearranged the filing system? And people remarked about how much easier it was to find things. So she said, yeah, I do that sort of thing all the time. I said, well, you got to give me all that information, because guess what? That's increasing productivity, which is decreasing costs. And she was like, it was second nature to her. She did things before she even realized it. So that can be fun, pumping somebody up who needs it. And then, there are people who don't really need it, but still they deserve more credit. I don't know. I call it bringing the cha-ching. My previous brand was ROI resumes. We bring the cha-ching. Somebody once said to me, what does ROI stand for? And I never gave this answer a second time because it was bitingly sarcastic. I said it means you're not part of my demographic. Because you know how you're supposed to find people that are in your demographic.
Ultimately, so if they don't get your humor, and you said you had one of your previous experiences was being a comedian, and that's a big part of you as a person, and so you want to be surrounding yourself with people who think in a similar way. At least they can then value the kind of content that you bring for them. Otherwise, they're just comparing your service to another service and not taking into account your unique selling point, which is your personality, as well as, of course, the experience and expertise that you've got.
Have told me that I take a very stressful situation for them and reduce the stress around it. So there, I don't know if this came to England, but there used to be a show called In Living Color, a comedy show. Jim Carrey got his start, the Wayans brothers. Okay. So I realized at some point that almost everybody's resume is less than it could be, and a lot of them are really bad. So I wondered what it did to people's confidence during the interview when the interviewer looked down at the resume, which happens most of the time. They have the resume in front of them and they play off of it. And if that took anything off of their confidence. So I wanted it to be like there's a character in Living Color where this guy, when he hands people his business card, he goes, bam! So I was wondering what it would be like if my clients felt like that when, don't say it, don't jump out of your chair, but feel like, check me out. That's all my best stuff. Ask me anything you want. Every word is there for a reason.
That's awesome, because that not only gives the confidence that people need, but also, having that inner belief that you are worth it probably just instantly gives them a better attitude as they walk in through the door, right? So people feel that. And one of the things that Dean Graziosi talks about in his book about Millionaire Success Habits, I think, and he talks about how confidence needs to be protected. Like, there's loads of studies saying, like, even if your confidence drops by 5%, that doubt, it's so deep that it suddenly seeps into everything that you do. So, when I talk about communication skills side of things on my side, it's all about confidence, whether you're in a social setting or whether you're public speaking or presenting something, even doing something like this, right? It's all about confidence. It's all about how you position yourself. So when it comes to a job interview, of course, that's so much more amplified because you have all this writing pressure on yourself that you need to do well. So tell me, on that angle, what made you decide that, you were a good writer, you figured that out at a young age. So what made you decide you want to go down to this route of resume writing versus, let's say, what's more popular now, which is like copywriting for adverts and marketing? So what made you decide to go down this route instead of the other route?
I love copywriting. I do love copywriting, but because I love nothing more than to be clever and funny on purpose. But there are a lot of really top copywriters who have put in a lot of years. And I guess I save my cleverness for cover letters and LinkedIn profiles. I have to start with some really good, intriguing line, like I have a PhD in asking questions. That was for one of my clients, to start with that. Or for another client, let me get straight to the point. I wake up at 4:30 every day, and if you think that helps me stay ahead of most of my competition, you'd be right. So, I think it's just something that I fell into. If I could do nothing but write jokes all day, and get paid the same amount, I would probably do that.
Amazing. And you still might, right? There's still time. You can do that. That's possible.
I watched with Michael McHale, and I'm like, at 5:30 in the morning, I'm thinking I've got 3 more hours to sleep. But I also watched your video about having a good nighttime routine, and I'm going to have to start doing that, at this late age. But I have to have a sleep study with some slight sleep apnea and figure things out. So no death scrolling.
I definitely stand by that. I definitely get you there. That's goal is real. And I think, I was a big, strong believer in the whole morning routine side of things. And I think I still am. But I just realized that the morning routine is so delicate that if you haven't actually got enough rest, you're not going to be able to do the morning routine, no matter how disciplined you are. Unless you've been doing it for years, and that's the one thing you do, like brushing your teeth in the morning. You've been doing it for years. You can have the worst night's sleep, but you're still going to do it. But until something else, like working out, for example, it becomes so ingrained that it's like brushing your teeth, I think there's a level of decision making that's involved into making that happen. But while we're on that topic, tell me now, when you have your own business, what do you do? How do you spend your day?
Well, this is a very unusual period for me because I just moved. I had a little extra money, so I decided I would rebrand and move from doing one-on-one strictly to group workshops and hopefully minimizing the one-on-one stuff. So it can be different every day. I generally do whatever I need to get done in the morning, and then I work, because sometimes I work with people who have jobs, and the best time for them to meet is at 6 o'clock at night, or if they're on the West Coast, that's 9 o'clock at night. So it's not unusual for me to stay up late. I'm not, at least at this point, I'm not the clearest headed in the morning. So I would rather, and I'm wide awake at 11 o'clock at night. So
I think that sounds good. So tell me a little bit more about that. So you're pivoting into a group workshop model. So tell me your thinking around there and what can people expect if they joined you in that service?
the reason why the resumes come out so well when I do them, it's because it's me doing it. But I've for a long time felt like if I could get people to get all the stuff out onto what I refer to as their reservoir, and then how do you manage the process? So I don't want to promise people you're going to have a great resume at the end of this. You're going to have great raw material at the end of this. You're going to have a format. You're going to know that I'm telling you, you should go hire somebody or buy dinner for a friend who's capable of piecing this all together using the roadmap and the samples and the rules that I set. So we'll see.
And thank you for being so honest with that, by the way, because I know a lot of people go through that process of pivoting or introducing something new, and they don't really talk about it. And this obviously it comes from the fact that nobody wants to be seen starting small. They just want to be seen when they're already successful. But it's so important to kind of share that journey. And you know that I did the same thing. You know, you were introducing a new course which is all about presenting skills and public speaking, and you were part of that. And you know that was completely new, and we were working out the kinks. The day I did the workshop, we didn't have video. We still had to crack it. So you know that's definitely part of the pivoting process as you change things. It's really good that you're sharing this thing because it shows more people that what they're going through, a period of change and uncertainty, is okay and it's completely normal. You know, someone as experienced as you are going through a change and still having to work out the kinks is so reassuring, right? Because then people who are completely new and for the first time ever trying to do something have to expect that they have to have all these things figured out. It doesn't make sense.
It used to be said that for every $10,000 of your salary, you need to be prepared to spend a month searching. And people think that that's, spending a year searching it is painful. That's why you need to invest in a really good pillow into which you can go, but, you got to take care of your voice. We call it primal scream.
Yeah, I love that.
Therapy.
It's so true.
By the way, when she hired me,
Yeah.
she was a scrum master making $70,000 a year, and she couldn't find, wasn't getting any good interviews with her existing resume, and she hired me, and she's terrific. So it was her looking and convincing people, but my resume started getting her good interviews, and she got a job that paid $100,000. And of course, the bonus was more as well. So, and I like to say if somebody hires me for the full thing, that they'll never need another resume writer again.
Hey, listen, I hope you're enjoying this conversation so far. If you like this sort of content and want to get more of it, then consider subscribing to this channel. You will love it. And if you want to ask me any questions or reach out to me directly, then my links are down below in the description. Make sure to follow me in my social media channels and you can ask me questions anytime. And now let's get back to the content.
What really gets people to smile when I'm describing my process is that we're like miners with miners caps and headlamps and pickaxes, and we're going into their memory bank. First, I'm going to send them in there alone to just get them a little bit of experience of bringing all that stuff out. And then I'm going to go, there's more gold in them thar hills. Let's go back in there together. And I might say, oh, that looks interesting. And they say, oh, if I never do that again, it'll be too soon. Did you do good work? Yes. Did you have any accomplishments? Yes. Put it on the table. I don't know that I'll use it later. I'm not worried if I'll use it later. But I don't know you. I don't know all the things you're capable of doing. And you got to get them out onto the table. It might just go back into a closet, but at least it will have been logged. And, sometimes it might be something that somebody doesn't want to do anymore, but if it's a new job that's got mostly things they want to do and 5% of this other stuff, they might say, well, for 5%, sure, I'll do it if I get to do all these other things. But okay, we cut that off of your resume because you said you never wanted to do it again. Good thing I know about it because I know we put it over here. Let's see how we can now put it back in. So I liken it to, you have a main closet in your bedroom. That's where all the clothes for this season go, or for this search. That's your master resume. And then we cut it down to a targeted resume, which is like the same as putting together one interview outfit. And then you are applying for something similar. You can just change your scarf or ascot. For you British types. And then if another target is notably different, you go into the closet, you change your entire outfit, but all those pieces were in there and they were like prefabricated. You didn't have to sew your pants while you were changing your outfit. It's all been prepared in advance.
Yeah, I think I love that analogy. I was literally just going to ask you, like, hey, what would be your tips for people who want to go through this process of at least they're starting to do it by themselves? And I think what you just said there is probably like the gold mine, that the gold dust that people need to really extract. Because effectively what you're saying is, if you, without putting it in a structure, if you just write down as a brainstorming session all the things that you've done, the accomplishments that you've had, the things that you've, the value that you've delivered, then you can pick and choose what goes where and what's going to have the highest impact and tailor it based on the output and the job description that you're trying to go for. Because then you can tweak small things at each handout, each application, versus having to rewrite the whole thing from scratch every single time.
I was going to say that one of the biggest mistakes people make when they do their resume is they try to edit the one they have. And you need to start with a blank page. Are you going to use some of the stuff that's on it? Yeah, well, probably the company names and the job titles and the general understanding of what you did. But then to bring the cha-ching, it's like every $, percentage sign, and number you can think of. So when I was just redoing or editing Melissa's resume after all these years, I Googled the name of the company that she worked for and the last full year, so 2021 that she worked there, and what their annual report said. Well, because it's a financial institution, it said that it would, because she had given me the number for her division, but her division is just a small fraction of the other, and so it was like, I don't know how many trillions of dollars of assets under management they had. But she even wrote to me, where'd you get that number from? Like, I didn't give it to you. It seems like it's somebody smarter had a hand in this. She's really funny. It's the three things that are involved it's the writing, it's the formatting, and it's the content. So instead of trying to do all three at the same time, just focus on the content. And what you're going to see is that, well, anytime it's, if you made the difference, great. What's the $? What's the percentage sign? What's the number? If you don't have any of that, then you could Google what the size of the organization is, because it's, as long as it's not a lie, it sets the context for the reader, and it keeps people's eyes on the page. When somebody is skimming, what keeps their eye on the page is a $sign or a percentage sign. And it can help. A lot of times I've seen other resume writers, even some people that I really respect, say that the resume is just to get you the interview. And I'm like, it's in front of them during the interview. It was there before. Maybe they didn't even read it before you got there. Somebody else just set them up for the appointment. Or you read it a week ago and you can't remember anything about it, so you read it again right before they get there. Or, worst case scenario, they're reading it when you're sitting in front of them. That's the uncomfortable moment. Is So you're getting to control what they ask you about. If your job was 90% writing and 10% speaking, and you want to do 90% speaking and 10% writing, you can take up 90% of the time talking about your speaking, or writing about your speaking if I really want to confuse people. But it's as long as you're not lying, right? As long as you're not lying, and that's really important that you not be lying. And the other thing people can do is, if you like, well, I don't remember what the number was. Well, if you're pretty sure it was over 10 million and you don't have the proof, say that it was over 9 million. You're positive it was over 9 million, and when you have truth on your side, the confidence is there. If you said 10 million and you felt a little like this about the number, then that's going to show too. So just undercut it, that's probably not the right word, but underestimate it and use that. It's going to keep people's eyes on the page. That's what's important.
That's brilliant. Amazing. Thank you so much, Linda, for that. Tell us, how can people reach you? Of course, I'll put all your links in the description below for people to can reach out to you, but can they work with you now? Are you still taking one-to-ones, or are you going in the group coaching model? Let us know.
I am, for the time being, still taking one-on-ones, but the best place to contact me right now is through my LinkedIn.
I hope you enjoyed this chat. If you did, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like the video, maybe share it with a friend. It's going to help out. If you have any questions or comments, put it down below and I will get back to you. In the meantime, check out this video right here because YouTube thinks you're going to love it, and I will catch you in the next one.